Hello everybody, this is Derek with Reef Automation. Today I'm going to go over the Harry's Aquatics alarm module. He decided to send me one for testing, so I was able to get one and I've been playing with it. And it's pretty cool, and I wanted to go over how to program it and some of the functionality of the unit. So the first thing is you need to have power. So the first thing is you got to plug it into power, which is the left plug. And then on the right side, you have a 3.5 millimeter plug that you need to plug into your V1, V2, V3, V4 ports. Now, in the description, I will write down how to go about getting a cable in which to do so. It's just the max spec gyre cable, which Neptune sells. You can also make your own cable. If you want to give me a comment in the comments below, I can explain to you how to go ahead and make your own cable as well. So you have the two options. So once you get the cable going, you're going to plug it into your V1, V2 port or your V3, V4 port. Now, if you have an Apex EL, you do not have a V1, V2 port, so you would need to get what's called an ADM, which is a device that allows you to add a V1 or V2 port to your Apex. If you have the full Apex, it'll have the V1 and V2 ports. So let's go through the programming on this guy. So I've already set up a base variable, which is base variable 2, which if I'm using base variable 2, I can set the corresponding percentage. Now, each 10 volt or 10% will give you and produce a different color. I apologize, each 1 volt and 10% will give you a different value. So if you set it to off or 0 volts, it'll have white dots scrolling across. If you do 10%, it'll be bright green. If you do 20%, it'll be dim green. If you do 30%, it'll be red. If you do 40%, it'll be yellow. If you do 50%, it'll be blue. If you do 60%, it'll be orange. If you do 70%, it'll be dim orange. If you do 80%, it'll be rainbow. Now I'm going to go through each one of these and show you what they look like, and I'll also show you what it will look like if you go to 90%, which will be a flashing red and a beeping alarm. And if you do 100%, it'll be a flashing red with a droning alarm. And I will write this down also in the comments so you can understand how it goes about programming. So since this is a variable output, you could do it a number of different ways. You could do it through what's called the wizard, which will present you with the ability to adjust the percentage depending on the day. Again, each percentage will give you a different color throughout the day. Now, most people are not going to program it this way. Most people are going to program it for either alarms or they're going to program it for multitudes of different things that will produce the alarm based on what's going on. You can also, of course, say if you're doing a water change it to a different color. And we're going to go through that. It's quite simple. So, for instance, you can do if output alarm is on, then 90. Now, what this is going to basically do is if your alarm is on, then it's going to set this to 90, which is a flashing red with beeping alarm. Now, if you can also set this to 50, you can set this to 40. You can set it to any percentage you want, which will produce depending on what you want. You can also do something such as if feed mode A, then you can do 50. So what that would mean is if you were running your feed mode, it's going to turn blue. You can have a default, so you can have, for instance, what I would consider a default, the set command. So set 10, which means generally when it's working, it's going to be bright green. And then if feed mode is enabled, then it's going to be 50. And then it will go back to 10 once the feed mode has been established. Now, you can also do profiles if you want to ramp through the different colors. You could do a number of different ways to do this, but this is probably the easiest way to do it if something else is on. So, for instance, if skimmer, so mine is called Reef skimmer, output Reef skimmer equals off, then 40. So you could set a number of different things here to set the color based on what's going on. So let's show you kind of what this looks like, and in order to test this, you just do a set command, and I'll show you how it works. So if you put it to set 0, it's going to flash as so. You see that? So now if you were to set it to 10, it's going to change to a bright green color like that. So now if you set it to 20, it's going to change to a dim green color. So that'll switch as so. Now if we set it to 30, it's going to go to a red color, as I mentioned earlier. So we'll set that to red. If we do a set 40, it's going to then set it to yellow. So we'll give that a second and it'll switch over to yellow. Now if we do a 50, it's going to switch over to blue. And again, you could do these with any type of if statement as well. So it'll switch over to blue. If you go to 60, it's going to switch over to an orange color. Now, none of these ones that we're doing now have the ability to produce sound. When you get to 90 and 100, that's when you'll get sound. So 70 is a dimmer orange, so we'll let that go through here. 80 is going to be your rainbow, which is kind of like a rainbow back and forth color, which is kind of cool. So we'll let that hit here, and there's the rainbow. Now, if we set it to 90, which is what I was saying, that's going to give you the beeping noise, which is quite loud, and I'll show you what it sounds like here. And then if you set it to 100, it's a little bit different, so we'll switch over to 100 so you can see kind of what that sounds like. So it's just a tad bit different, but basically that's the different functions of the box. So that's basically how you program it. That's basically how you use it. Again, you can use it with a number of different things. You can say, for instance, if your pH is low, do something. If your temperature is low. So what could be a nice thing here is I would set it to 0, and then if your reef temp is less than 75, then 50. That would mean it's too cold, so it would turn blue. If our temp is greater than, let's say, 83, then I want it to turn red. So red is 30. So again, I'll write this down in the comments so you know which one's which. But that's basically how you program this guy, and that's basically how it works. What's really cool about this item is it's an alarm as well. So you could put this alarm, for instance, in an area of your house and run a cable to it, and you'd have the ability to have both noise and also an indicator to indicate if something's wrong. So my idea right now with this unit is I'm going to probably put it in my bedroom so it wakes me up in the middle of the night. Now, the only thing that is interesting about the unit is there's no way to really shut off the light to it unless you have the power unplugged. So I'm probably going to have to program something that shuts it off during the day and only turns it on at night. So that's the only thing I'm trying to figure out with it right now. But other than that, it's quite a nice piece of equipment. And if you want to get one, Harry's currently taking beta orders. I don't know if it's going to be sold to the public for a little while, so you can get a hold of Harry at harrysaquatics.com. He also has a Facebook page as well, and I will leave that in the comments below as well. So I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, go ahead and hit the thumbs up on the bottom. And if you have any questions or comments, just leave them in the comments below, and hope you liked the video and subscribe as well. Have a good day.